Welcome back to Rehabilitation Revelations World. My name's Chase,
And I'm Christopher.
and today we got our man Dylan on.
Mhm.
Tell us where you're from, where you've been, where life's taken you, and where life's brought you, man.
All right. So as he said, my name's Dylan. I'm from Winchester, Tennessee, real small town. Um, I had a I had a pretty solid upbringing, man. To be truthful with you, but it was like one of those things. Like my dad wasn't around, but I had like God blessed me with a beautiful, wonderful mom that did everything she could for me and my sister. Um, but it's one of those things where like I was never really taught self control, so like that plays a big part in my story and like you know what all I put myself through.
Yeah.
So as time goes on, uh, I'm gonna just get straight to it.
Yeah, man.
Jump in.
Oh,
Come on.
Man,
Come on.
so at the age of 13, I mean, I was a big football player, love football.
Yeah.
I had something to take my aggression out. I was always like wouldn't say I was violent, but like I had a really short fuse and I didn't know how to control it, and the football field gave that to me.
Yeah.
Well, what comes with football? Popularity. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Especially when you're pretty good at it. So like being 13, playing ball with all these guys, got into the party life super early. I'm going to the liquor cabinet, stealing bottles, pouring it in a water bottle, filling it back up with water, even mixing Kool-Aid in it to give it the color it had if it had some color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Heck, stepping up the game.
Yeah, had to improvise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I started drinking really early age. Started smoking weed,
Yeah.
and then my freshman year of high school, I broke my ankle, broke my growth plate, fractured the tibular fibula. I'm not too sure on which. Those are confusing. Tore ligaments in my foot and was prescribed some narcos.
Mm-hmm.
I've on quite a bit of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's when like I didn't know much about them, but I knew like I had arrived.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Once you got that first feeling, you're like, yes, this is it.
This is it right
This
here.
is it.
You know, and that's where like my downward spiral went because I learned okay. I'd tell my buddies about them like, dude, you gotta try these. They're awesome, and so I started selling them my freshman year. That's whenever I got introduced to the dope game. Started hanging out with a bunch of people that was way older than me, had no business running around with some of these guys, but it was the thrill of like knowing I was that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I fell in love with it. As sad as that is. So all throughout high school, stayed in trouble, quit playing sports, and like the sports for me turned into the dope game. You know what I mean? And whenever I jumped into like, if anytime I put myself into something, I put my all into it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we
So it
do.
wasn't no like little here, little there. And this is while I'm in school, man. I'm taking
This when you were in high school.
yeah, I'm taking 8 balls
Yeah.
of some coke.
Yeah.
I got probably 30, 40 pills on me.
Yeah.
Cars full of weed. You know what I mean? And like that's just what I did. Well, I ended up getting caught up my senior year of high school. They sent me they said I needed, if I went and got help, that's when I caught my first felony. If I needed help, so if I went and got help, it'd all be swept under the rug.
Help as in going to like a rehab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go to Dallas, Texas. I only did like 32 days in a rehab facility, which, different strokes, different folks, but I firmly believe you need more time than that.
Oh, yeah.
And no sooner than I was home, I jumped straight off the porch.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to waste in my mind. And by that time, when I got back, that's when, it went from popping pain pills to snorting heroin.
Yeah.
And I was pretty good. Like I was the type, I tried hiding the fact that I was doing heroin from everybody.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want like everybody to be, how that all goes. So as time goes on, I went from selling just pills, a little bit of coke to weed to like, okay, now we got talking about, pounds of ice. Didn't even do ice at the time. But
this one in Tennessee still, right?
Yes. I didn't. Yeah, I stayed in Tennessee for a grip. The majority of my story is going to be in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so we went from selling all little stuff to big time in it, because it was like, okay, too much risk, not enough reward. So bigger the risk, the bigger the reward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when like, I had a very close friend of mine that was going through some things, and like when I say good friend, I mean we grew up together. This was my righteous homie, man. Like we wasn't going one way without the other being there, you know. And he was going through some things, was getting pill sick and stuff, and like calls me up, asking me if I had any pills. I'm like, nah, man, whatever. And he was like, well, you want to ride with me and get some meth? And I'm like, no, you know, like I kind of got it, you know what I mean? Like whatever, I don't need. We ain't got to do all that. Just come to the house. So he comes over to the house, and that's when like I thought I was being a good friend by keeping him not sick.
Yeah.
But you know, you realize things later on. And so I gave him some heroin. Lo and behold, he fell in love with it. Of course, you know what I mean. So I thought maybe, man, like I can kind of control it for him, keep him from being full blown. No, I could not. A week goes by. I'm in Manchester, Tennessee, doing some things I'm not gonna speak about. And
Not good things, probably.
Yeah.
no. And so Buddy calls me and he's like, "Hey man, where you at?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in Manchester." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, me too." He already knew what type of time it was.
Yeah.
So we meet up, whatever, and you know, gave him some. He asked if he could have some. You know, I'm not gonna hold out on him.
Yeah.
And before he left that night, he asked me if I'd sell him a little bit, so I sold him a little bit. And I was laying brick at the time. I was doing masonry work. And matter of fact, I worked with his uncle. And I wake up. I was running a few minutes behind. I call and let him know I'm a few minutes behind, and he informed me that he had died that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that messed with me, man. Like I blamed myself, and I get like people say, "Oh, it's not your fault. You didn't force him to do it." But the truth to the matter is, I played a part in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could have been a better friend and said, "No, man, you don't need that," because I knew what that does.
Yeah.
I knew what it did.
Yeah.
So that goes on. I tried to get clean. You know, my sister was living in Nashville. I went up to Nashville, kind of detoxed at her house, which I commend her for that because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not somebody you want to be around when you're coming off stuff.
Yeah. I hear you.
And that went on. Well, I got the bright idea of like, okay, I'm gonna go back to Chattanooga. Life will be good. I'll move in with my homie. I ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
As soon as I got to Chattanooga, homeboy had a bunch of press 30. So I'm like, yes, sir. A few days go by, blew through all my money. I'm calling mom and dad like, yo, this was not a smart move, whatever. And at that time, my dad had bought a grave digging business down here in Coleman. So like, I was like, okay, well, this is the way I can stay away from everything. Just because at the time we was driving from Tennessee to Coleman every day. And it was a way to keep me out of like really getting involved with people.
Yeah.
You know? And I was helping him do that for about a year. He bought a house down here. And like I let the money get to my head, man. I thought, oh, I can buy a half pound of some weed. I'll leave it at that, you know what I mean?
Split that.
Absolutely not. I don't know. The money wasn't good enough in my mind.
Yeah.
So I just went spiraling down the same path. Well, I ended up messing up. Dad caught me high. He was like, either you get it together or you got to go, man. And I chose to go. So I'm back in Tennessee at this point, and like everything was hitting way harder. At this time, I isolate myself. Like I didn't need nobody, don't want nobody. And like, because I started to realize the only reason why a lot of these people were around is because what I got or what the motion that I got going on. They ain't really
Are
here.
you smoking weed at this time, or are you back on?
Oh, I'm back on it. So
Okay.
yeah, full blown, like balls to the wall.
And
You know what I mean?
isolating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst thing you can do.
Well, absolutely, I agree. And like, and that's something I still struggle with today. Is like, it's hard for me to be around people like that. Like, you get me in a big crowd, man. Like, I can't do it. Like, I went to church last Sunday, and like just all them people being there, man. Like, I almost left church. You know?
Yeah.
I understand, buddy.
It's just one of those things, and that isolation kind of like I thought it was better for me because I was in a sense embarrassed of what I had going on. You know what I mean? Like all these people had high hopes for me and like all these expectations of me, and I was nowhere near it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So like time went on, you know, caught some more felonies, had to lay it down for a minute. And that's what got me where, okay, when I got released, because at this time I'm snorting fentanyl by the truckload. You know what I mean? I was doing enough fentanyl it's a wonder I'm still here. You know what I mean? And by the time I got out, some things was messing with my head. You know, there's some things that had occurred in that year and a half. You know what I mean? And I didn't know how to cope with it. You know what I mean? I'm not a big person on like
talking about it.
Yeah, it's harder for me to do because like I always feel like somebody's going to use that against me, or that's leverage that they're going to eventually have over me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's not always the case, and it's not a good way to be, but like that's just how I was.
Yeah.
You know? And so I kept all that bundled up, ended up relapsing. You know, lost everything that I had accumulated, which I did not accumulate it the right way. So maybe it was meant to be lost in the first place.
Comes fast, it goes fast too.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. So that goes on. Finally, like, I got in some more trouble, so I was like, "Look, dude, something's got to give because you're gonna end up going back, or like, you're gonna die." Because I was at a point of where like I'm putting out lines that like I know either one or two things are gonna happen right here. I'm gonna be good now,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was okay with either one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It didn't make a difference to me what happened, and it was just like eating at me, man. And like, I finally was like, "Okay, something's got to give, bro." Like, obviously, I can't do it myself. You know. So I go to a halfway house, and like I honestly can say that was probably like the best choice I ever made in my life because I had time.
Mm-hmm.
I had time where I could sit and like actually observe like all the damage I had done and what all that stuff was doing to me.
Yeah.
Because when you're in it, for me at least, when I was in it, I ain't paying attention to none of that.
Yeah, no.
Walking around looking like who done it and why,
Yeah.
and don't even realize that's what you look like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like a real eye opener for me. I did that, and then it's been kind of like it's been good. Like I've been sober for a little over a year and a half. Well, no, not just quite. January will be 2 years for me.
Yeah.
And like
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. Bro.
And I would like to tell people that it gets easier, and for some people it does. But you know, I'm always going to be an addict. That thought is always going to be in the back of my head. So like for me, for the longest, I was having to look at myself and tell myself like, man up, bro. You know what I mean? Like you're only on this earth for a limited amount of time, and like you spending it getting high in a bedroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. Like I had to just tell myself, like, man up, do it.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And keep good people around.
Absolutely.
Accountability, like you got Jeff now, you know,
and like
I have Chris, you know, and like I hope the same with me with him, and you know, you got to have those people
100%.
to be there, so you don't isolate, so
Absolutely.
you don't, you know, when you have that thought in your head, you can go to that person and you can be like, hey, I need it, I need you, you know, and they're there every time.
Yeah,
Every
absolutely.
time.
I agree 100%. And like that plays kind of a factor because like I was starting to get like when I moved from Gulf Shores from the halfway house to here, I don't know nobody. You know what I mean? So like all I'm doing is I'm going to the gym, I'm working, going to the gym, working out every day. That's all I'm doing. And like I was getting real lonely, like because I was still isolating myself. I wasn't trying to get out and see people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or none of that. And I was at the gym one day, and this guy, I'm gonna be honest, I thought he was coming at me on a different type of time because that's what I'm used to. And because he was kept eyeballing me and he walks out, but then he comes back in and he has his girl with him. So I'm thinking, I done looked at her wrong. Something like he's gonna be on a different type of time than what I need him to be on. And lo and behold, he sits down and he's like, hey man, God was touching my heart heavy to come talk to you, man, and invite you to church and to a cookout that my buddy's having on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And like the whole time I'm thinking like, yeah, right. I'm not finna go. That's just not me. Go to a place where I know nobody. You kidding me?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. And like time went on, it just kind of sat on me like there's a reason why he came up to me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, why not just go? You know, get out of my shell a little bit. So I go to this cookout, and lo and behold, it's at Jeff's house. I'm freaking out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I'm over here sitting by myself, like having a miniature panic attack, you know what I mean? But like, God accepted with open arms. Like, that was like the most genuine feeling like around people that I think I've had in a long time. So it was like real nice to have that. And then they kept inviting me to church, man, and like I was like, man, church, like I don't know if like that's a good. I don't know if that's, you know, and like it just for some reason in the back of my mind, like there's so much positive going on right now that like I know for 100% fact things that I've been through, things that I've done, not at all deserved.
Yeah.
There's a bigger picture to it all.
Yeah.
And you can't, so it's hard to like say that it wasn't something greater than me.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely, man.
And so I go to church, sit with old Jeff, and yeah, that's what kind of got me out of that because I was heading down another dark path that like I for some reason take myself to every time, and like people always ain't out to get you, and people always ain't trying to use you for what you are or what you.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And you got to learn that like you got to learn that like sometimes we're meant to be hurt.
Yeah.
Some relationships aren't meant to happen.
Yeah.
So like
That's the truth.
you just gotta shoot for it, and if it happens, it happens. If it's a good thing for you, it's a good thing. And that's kind of like what got me where I'm at right now.
What's different? What's different right now than when you try to get sober in the past? How did you, I guess, quote unquote, figure it out, or what did you have to realize to really make it work?
Man, what did I have to realize? Okay, for me, it was more along the lines of like realizing like, okay, so what do you really want in life? Do you want to be this miserable? And I'm not calling anybody a waste of space, but that's what I was a waste of space.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be miserable and be a waste of space, or do you want to be something? And no, I don't care about people knowing my name or knowing what I got going on.
Yeah.
But like when I walk through some doors, I want some people to be able to just tell by my energy and the way that I carry myself that, okay, he's got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
May not have it all the way figured out, but he's got something going on.
Yeah.
You're
doing something right.
And realizing that for me was like the eye opener because like when I take myself down that rabbit hole, man, it ain't good for nobody.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what it took for me. And like I also like being locked up a lot of times, it's no fun.
No.
There's no
Zero
life in it.
fun. 0 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah, it's no
Going
fun.
behind the wall.
Yeah, it's no
Not
fun.
recommend that.
Absolutely not.
I'm telling you, anybody that smashes the ramen noodle on the concrete, I can tell that
They know
sound.
what's up.
I'm saying I can tell that. You could do it right now. I'm like, yeah, they're smashing ramen noodles on concrete right now.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that sound anywhere.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And it sucks, man. It's definitely not fun, man.
No, and I didn't want to live the rest of my life like that. And I knew if I continued, that's what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I was going to be.
If you're lucky,
Yeah.
that'll probably you'd be dead.
Yeah.
The other thing, if you're lucky, you might go to jail.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was I wouldn't trade, and like I tell everybody this, man, I wouldn't trade it for nothing because I look at my mindset now, the drive I have, and like the relationships that I'm making, and like none of this would have ever happened if I was still using,
Yeah.
But if I wouldn't have used, I wouldn't be who I am to be able to form these relationships and these bonds,
Right.
So you got to take it all as a lesson,
Yeah, no doubt.
Some of us got harder lessons to learn.
No doubt.
Some of us got easy lessons.
Yeah.
But nothing in my life ever came easy, and like giving up's the easy way out.
It really is. That really is.
Yeah. And
Yep.
so that's just something I can't do,
Yeah, I hear you.
Easy ain't me, man.
No,
Gotta take the hard route.
no doubt. That's where you learn the most, man.
Absolutely.
Well, man, we appreciate you
Absolutely.
telling the story, man, and it's I just want to say, man, I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
And I'm very grateful to have met you, and I'm grateful you've came on here and been vulnerable and just told
Not
your
even
story.
my heart's beating 1,000.
Yeah.
It's good though.
No, man,
You did good.
but it takes you. It's that fear, man, that you can take, and it helps, man. It builds you.
Yeah,
And you still did it.
Yeah.
Your heart's beating. You're a little bit afraid, but you know what? You still did it,
Yeah.
and you still talked about these things, and that's what it's about. That's what we're trying to.
That's what
really get out there.
Absolutely.
You can do things and be scared. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely, man. Dylan, we appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
We love you, buddy. Hey, thank y'all. We appreciate y'all for tuning in, guys. Thank y'all.
Love you.